Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Wellness Blueprints. I'm Jess Milner. I'm so glad you're here to nourish your roots with me today. I'm a master nutritionist. I am a functional blood work specialist and a quantum energy healer. Today, I want to talk a little bit about my quantum frequency blueprint and why it is really the backbone of my programs. I do apologize. I have a little bit of a stuffy nose today. So if my voice sounds a little bit weird, that would be why we had, some kind of ridiculous plague go through our house last week. I was lucky and it was down for less than 48 hours, but I still got this lovely little stuffy nose to go along with it. But the podcast must go on. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this quantum frequency blueprint. So, this podcast is called Wellness Blueprints. You know that I love to combine spiritual and physical wellness to actually get true wellness for you, for all. And so this was really the way that I looked at it. I said, okay, how are we really going to give everybody something where they can look at it, get their juices flow, and figure out what needs to be released, what kind of things we're going to focus on in terms of their energy work side of this and everything, and how are we going to combine that? I really just wanted to have something that I could just hand to everybody, and hand to, it's going to end up in your email box, right? But anyway, so it's kind of funny because a couple of years ago, I had this because I've been doing emotion code for several years since 2018, and body code I've been doing. Oh my gosh, it's probably been 3 years now. I'm not sure, but anyway, I offered an emotion code through the chakras years ago. And, just kind of like going through and allowing a couple of sessions per chakra, figure out what emotions might be lodged in those certain areas. And even now, when I do emotion codes and body codes, a lot of the time I am finding myself going through certain chakras and just balancing them out. So I really wanted to incorporate all of that. And then the more that I learned about energy work and everything like that, the more I realized how appropriate that all was. So it was almost like this foreshadowing, right? It was absolutely amazing, this foreshadowing. So it was really like a foreshadowing because, like I'm saying, the more that I learned about how this all works, the more I realized how much the chakras really do play a huge role in this. And I'm sorry if I just repeated that. I had to pause for a second because, I've got 4 kids and I'm here living on a mountain and there's snow outside. And my almost 7 year old was crying hysterically. So I had to pause and go give him love and snuggles and smooches. And now I'm back. But anyway, so the more I realized just how important the chakras really are and how they are connected to glands and they are connected to certain thoughts and just certain bodily functions. And then I really looked into it even more. And I was starting to realize that when I would have a client that I've been doing emotional work on for a couple of years, and they would say, "Oh, I got blood work done. Can you take a look at it?" And I could have predicted how their blood work looked just because I knew like what their emotional centers were looking like. And then and then the same thing with vice versa. I would look at somebody's blood work and put everything into place and go, okay, well, I can see what's going on here. It really mirrors all directions. And if you had like genetic testing done or something, this would all mirror in there as well. I am not trained in reading genetic testing. I am trained in functional blood work, but nevertheless, like it would work for, if I were to learn how to do that, or if somebody had like, it would shimmy right in there with everything else. It's absolutely amazing. So this quantum frequency blueprint. So what I do is I go through and through the different chakras that we have, and I typically start at the root because that's where you have to start everything in the basement, right? But I typically start in the root, but I will work my way up and find there will always probably be emotional aspects that are going to go with it. So I find myself doing the emotion code with that a lot, which is that's, emotions that are lodged in certain areas and they're causing a traffic backup in your energy, basically in your frequency. So when we remove those out of the way, things are able to flow better. We'll often find a lot of things like that lodged in those places. Now, as far as the body code goes, it digs a lot deeper than that. So you might have something that is more of an energy thing. Maybe it's like, the energy of a post-traumatic experience in one way or another. Maybe there's, an allergy or an intolerance to a certain idea or something like that. Sometimes there's, like a mental energy, like maybe there's like a broadcast message, that, your body, like your frequency is giving off, like, don't respect me or ignore me or something like that, or don't look at me. Different things like that, that we don't realize we're giving off this frequency. And then other people don't even realize that they're picking it up from you. But nevertheless, like it's manifesting because of what's going on there. So there's several other areas of body code, though. It could be a pathogen. Typically for this, it would be the energy of a pathogen. So maybe you were sick years ago. There's still an energy of a pathogen hanging out there, and it's causing some issues in your frequency. And same thing, it could be like inherited like sickness memory sort of thing, which is going to, so maybe like your great grandmother had like a horrible virus or something like that when she was however old, and you're carrying some of the frequency from that, because just, when we're born, just like we don't have like fresh DNA, it's, we have the DNA from our parents and it's passed down, we're making these carbon copies of, all of our ancestors, and it's not 50-50. It's going to be whatever numbers are going to be there as genetics go. But, you have all that. Your energetic blueprint that you're passing on to your kids and you're taking from your parents and your ancestors is doing the same kind of thing. So we're going to be taking little pieces of those things as well from our ancestors. And that's really very interesting. So it could be something like a toxin, like an energy of a toxin that, you were exposed to or someone else was exposed to at some point. A misalignment, whether it's in your body, in your energy body, in a chakra. It could be, a misalignment in a bone somewhere. And then like maybe something going on with a circuit or a system. Sometimes there's something actually, energetically going on with the liver or the pancreas or something like that. So we find these things as we work up through the 7 chakras. And then you have this blueprint there, and there are some reflective questions on there and everything. And this is going to tie in with, so it doesn't matter if you're doing a blood work program, if you're doing a specific program with me, or if you were doing, like a tailored program, or if you're just doing magnetic quanta where we're all taking the same supplements, because you're going to use this blueprint no matter what, because this really is the backbone to your full spiritual and physical wellness. Okay. This is the blueprint. This is how we get from A to B. This is how we really marry them together. And it's what's going to pull us together. So when you decide to do a blood work program with me, for example, you will also be part of magnetic quanta. So you will, of course, get this quantum frequency blueprint. So, it doesn't matter if you have blood work or not. I can do the blueprint without the blood work, or I can do it with the blood work. It doesn't matter. So, that's kind of like your choice there. It doesn't matter if you've decided to do magnetic quanta. We're like, okay, we're going to take these specific supplements because they're really good at doing A, B, and C that we're talking about, which if you really want to hear more about that, you need to join my Radiant Reset. Okay. The next one's going to be January 22nd. And then after that, there will be more. So I will give you I'll give you that address to sign up for that. So we are going to take this together, and work our way through the chakras. Everybody's quantum frequency blueprint is going to be different, but the way that we're going to work through all of those chakras is the same for everyone. So we're going to do some very specific work going through over that time. The cool thing is I do offer the quantum frequency blueprint without you signing up for any of the other programs. So you can go ahead and do that. See what it's all about, and then decide if you want to do a program, like a full program, or you can just take it and be like, okay, this is what she said. I like this. This is cool. Whatever, I want to do my thing. It's totally fine. So, but I wanted to really talk about this because this is something that I've been spending a lot of time going through and looking at, because there are so many things. There are so many things that come up rather the same for everyone. I mean, whenever we're doing emotion codes, and like there'll be a lot of the same emotion that comes up, and it's true because our we have always been feeling the same emotions as our ancestors all throughout time, all throughout history. Humans have always been having a human experience, so we've always felt all of these emotions, but the reasons why have always been different. So we're not that different from our ancestors. It's just the reasons why we're freaking out might be a little bit different. And they had things that they were like, oh my gosh, everything's getting too difficult too. They had their own reasons to feel the same ways that we do. But uh this is really it's my baby, because this is taking everything and handing it to you in a way that you can look at it and go, oh my gosh, this makes sense. I can relate to this. This is why this makes sense as to why my thyroid is off, or my numbers are off for this, or this hurts, or that, whatever, if you're like, oh, I'm getting a little fluffy in this area, everything's hurting, I'm tired all of the time, and especially as we start to creep into perimenopause, ladies, we get into our end, our late 30s. I'm going to be 44 this month. And as we creep into this, even when you're still cycling regularly, it seems like so many things amp up. It's like, okay, well, I'm a little fluffier in the midsection than I used to be, and my normal tricks are just not working, because your estrogen, even though you're still having cycles, your estrogen is not doing everything as well as it used to. There's just not as much of it, and so things are tanking. And you're having more issues with, dropping those pounds, or maybe you're just so tired all the time. You could fall asleep standing up in your kitchen, but then sleeping at night, I mean, forget it. Your brain is just like blah, 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 and you just can't. So maybe you went from like, okay, well, I can't sleep very well at night because my kids are little and they don't sleep through the night, to, okay, now the kids sleep through the night, but I won't. So, there's all of these things that are going on, when things are hurting more, and we're just kind of looking at something like, well, this just isn't working, or I'm eating these foods and that used to make my belly feel better and it's just not now. And why are my emotions like so much more intense? And maybe it's not all the time, but you notice the roller coaster going more and more. And this really just this blueprint just lays it all out so that you're looking at it and go, okay, this makes a lot of sense. And this is correlating with, if you are using blood work, it's coordinating with my blood work, it's coordinating with my symptoms. And this is giving me a good explanation as to why I do truly need to focus on not just the physical symptoms, but also on the spiritual side of it, because that's how we find true wellness. Because your spirit body, your vital body, I've said this 100 times, it carries the blueprints for your physical body. So we got to work on that too, or you're never going to fully get all the way where you want to get with your health. And can people do this kind of by default sometimes? Sure. Because if they're in the right mindset, and they're like, no, I reject what the doctor said to me. I mean, you hear about people, deciding that, their cancer diagnosis, that they're just going to be like, no, I don't believe you. I don't think I have X amount of time to live, and I'm going to go live my life to the fullest. I'm not going to do this, blah, blah, blah. And next thing you know, they don't have any cancer anymore, or it's gone down significantly, and they're going to be fine because they've changed their outlook on things. And, so a lot of the time, like something like this can be done on its own. But when you're really, focusing on it like that so much and everything, things can get fuzzy. Things can get foggy in there, and not always end up going your way. And we will very, very quickly revert right back to our old ways of thinking, our old patterns, our old habits, because that's what they are. They're habits, and they've served us well in one way or another. At least in our heads, we have this understanding that these things that we've been doing are serving us well. So it's very difficult to convince ourselves to change doing that, when in the past it seems to have done well. Even if it hasn't done well, we might have an understanding deep down that it is doing well, and that's why we keep going back to it. So this really lays it all out and just makes it easier and makes it more fun. And I truly enjoy putting them together. So if you would like to check out just the quantum frequency blueprint, you're going to go to go.deeprootedwellnessid.com/QFB. If you want to learn more about this at my next Radiant Reset, you're going to go to go.deeprootedwellnessid.com/radiant dash reset and sign up for the next one. As of this recording, and the next one is January 22nd, but there will be more after that. So please go ahead and check those out because I would love to have you on the inside there for the Radiant Reset. It's always a fun party. I'm always having, like you can bring a cup of tea and whatever, just like you're doing right now, whatever you're doing right now, is totally fine. I don't mind at all because you're going to get the information that you need every time that you're there. There's something to be said about being present, and sometimes like I know when you're listening to a podcast, you might have you've got your ears in and you're just going about your day doing your things and absorbing stuff and everything. Sometimes that's what it takes us to be present and on everything. And sometimes we want to sit there and take notes. Sometimes we want to sit there and sip tea. But I'm so glad that you have joined me today. I hope that you'll join me for Radiant Reset and join me for another episode of this podcast. I absolutely love recording this. It's so much fun. I really am having a blast. And yeah, so I just wanted to talk more about that quantum frequency blueprint. This is absolutely so much fun. And if you're interested, go ahead and go to that website and go ahead and book one, or you can book a discovery call with me if you want to know more about it. Okay. So I think that's all I got for this week. And I can't wait to see you next time. Thanks for stopping by. Bye for now.